and welcome to Cooking with a Hug. I'm Jennifer and this is Fiona. Hello. We're at the food bank in Lymington and we're hopefully going to show you how to cook with the ingredients that we have here. It's economical, it's fun, hopefully you'll find it easy, hopefully we'll be able to help you navigate around these ingredients. So let's get started. Right, we need some pudding. Right. So we have got this week some apples and some pears, could be stairs, and we've got a tin of peaches. So we're going to do a crumble without an oven. So to start with, we're just going to chop up the apples and pears, leave the skin on again, because all the goodness is in the skin, and we're going to cook it in the syrup, the light syrup from the peaches. And Fiona, over to you. Tell me how you're going to do the topping.
Right, well we've got some oats. And basically I'm just going to toast them a bit like the Scottish do with they do a raspberry and meringue and cream pudding with lots of toasted oats. So I've got a little bit of oil in the pan. You can use butter, but if you use butter you have to use a little bit of oil as well, purely because it stops it burning. So I'm trying to get it up to heat, and all I'm going to do is just toast the oats, add a bit of sugar. At that point you do have to stir quite a lot because you don't want the sugar to burn, you just want it to brown. And then what we will do is we'll put the fruit in the bowl, we'll put the kraken on the top, the crumble on the top, and then we've got a tin of custard because you can't have tin fruit without custard.
You can use any fruit that you have, and if you've just got tin fruit, just use the tin fruit.
Right, so put the oats in. Not too many, don't crowd the pan. It's a bit like the same with pasta, don't crowd the pan. So basically it's a bit like if you're browning nuts, you just want to keep it sort of on the move. So it doesn't stick, it doesn't stay. And again, I would normally do this in a frying pan, but I forgot to bring my frying pan, so we're going to go again with this.
Also, I mean, last week we had an abundance of bananas. Now, apart from banana cake, you could just slice the bananas, again warm it in a drop of water and some syrup, and then just pour custard over the top.
Bananas and custard was my childhood pudding.
It's very filling. The bananas are full of potassium and they're really good for children growing bones.
I can hear it starting to sizzle a little bit. I might add a little bit more oil just so it doesn't stick. And so the the sugar has something to hang on to when we add the sugar.
So just squeeze the syrup out of the tin of peaches. So we don't need to add sugar now because we've got the sweetener from the syrup already there. And we're just going to poach the fruit.
Might add another handful as you've got quite a lot of fruit going on there.
There's a lot of fruit in there.
Right, now I'm going to add the sugar. So it's a bit hard to say weights, it's just maybe 3 or 4 ounces of sugar, which is what in kilos, grams. I don't do, I'm too old, you see, I do old money. I do
200
ounces.
grams.
200 grams, roughly, you put in there, if that, 100 grams. Now this is when you need to be careful that you don't actually let it burn, because sugar on heat will burn, and then it goes bitter and you don't want it to go bitter. You want it to be nice and sweet and crunchy.
Oh, it smells lovely. Can you smell the peaches?
Yeah.
The reason I'm stirring it constantly is basically to stop the syrup burning again, because it's sugar. So I will add the peaches in a moment when it's starting to poach. If it's cooking too far, I would add a drop of water. We're okay at the moment. Personal preference on this, You can cook it till it's slightly soft, slightly mushy, al dente, which is slightly hard to touch. Really depends on your children, your family, how fussy everybody is. I am going to add that much water just to stop it burning, and I want a little bit more poach. Cooking the fruit, you're releasing the sugars, which makes it sweeter, and you're releasing the flavours as well. I'm just going to bang a lid on that just to
make it cook faster. I always use a lid. It cuts down cooking time so much. You use so much heat out of the top. Right, sugar's just starting to melt a little bit. So I'm getting a...
What's the heat temperature you have on that, Fiona?
A medium heat. You don't want it too high because the sugar will then burn before it's softened, and you want it to actually melt. So it's a bit like making caramel. If you've ever made caramel, you have to keep your eye on it. But with caramel, you don't stir. Because this is the oats, you do, because you don't want them to catch. Now at this point, if you wanted to, you could add some butter. A couple of ounces would be fine. That will help with the crunch going on, it all kind of blending together, because there comes a point where you've got to sort of allow it to just mix and meld together, so you've got clumps of. Now sometimes you get tins of other fruit like gooseberries or raspberries and that sort of thing.
Mixed fruit as well.
Mixed fruit is good. If you're doing something like this, you're better off having something with a bit more body, so cherries will be okay. Raspberries would just go very thin.
You'd add them at the last minute, so whatever you have basically, whatever's available. Seasonal cooking is always the best.
It's the cheapest. This is starting to colour now, which is good. It does take a little bit of time, and it does take a little bit of fiddling around with, but it's a really nice change to flour and butter and sugar as a normal crumble. And it's also, if you haven't got...
Gluten-free.
It's gluten-free, because you can have gluten-free oats.
So I'm just going to chop these peaches up for you because they're a bit big, and I want them all roughly the same size, and I don't want people arguing over the fruit pieces. So we've added the peaches, which has given it a great nice colour. Fresh, vibrant, beautiful. And we're just going to warm them through so it's hot. I'm just going to simmer it off, waiting for Fiona's crumble top.
It seems to be taking its time today. So this has just started to crisp up and brown. So basically you can leave it to go further, but we're going for a lighter cook rather than a... Oh, what's it? So Jen, have you got your fruit? Do you want to put your fruit in the dish? Watch your hand, because do you need a... Oh, that looks good.
That little bit out.
Can you do that with it a little bit? And then basically all we're going to do is... Oh, did you hear that hiss? It's hot. Move it, fork it around a little bit for me, thank you. So it's a crumble with a difference. On the hob, not in the oven. If you wanted to, you could put this in the oven now if you had something else and they're going on already. If not, it's just as it is. And we're going to do it with some custard.
So we've got a tin of custard. So you literally just pop that in a saucepan and just warm it through. And a couple of minutes and you're ready, you're done. So
I did have a spoon with me, but maybe we'll just use the ladle. So you've got to... I don't know whether you can hear this, but it's hissing. And then a bit of custard.
Put it in your taste.
And there's your pudding. Simple. Lovely, easy, fresh. Kids will love it.
Right, thank you for watching Cook with a Hug. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you got something from it. Tune in next time for our next lot of recipes. See you soon.